What is up, my beautiful people? Hope you're having a fantastic day. Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit Happy. It's Friday, congratulations, we've made it to the weekend. Let's start it off right with some stories out of a new sub today, r/self-love. Found some really moving ones in here that I'm sure are really gonna strike a chord with you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Our first story is from user snootbooper1058. I am changing. TLDR, I've been experiencing the highest confidence and self-esteem for the first time in my life. Hello. Long-time lurker, but I feel now is the right time to post this, despite my desire to have a private life. It won't be the most organized, but I'm ready to say what I've been feeling in my heart and mind, body and soul. At the end of July, I was broken up with after a year of being with my boyfriend. This was a week before my birthday. I was devastated. All of August had massive changes as I was dealing with the breakup trauma and starting grad school. So it felt pretty overwhelming. Throughout August and the beginning of September, all I did was cry. I cried at home, work, in my car, to my friends and family, etc. During this, I was reading a lot on self-love. I kept thinking how I didn't know how to love myself. Then one day, it was like a switch in my brain went off. No one will love me as much as I can, so why don't I do that? I was tired of crying and tired of treating myself like a victim. I can't change the past, and dwelling on it doesn't solve anything. I can only be in the present and prepare for the future. So I sought a counselor. As of now, I've seen them twice. Instead of saying things about my body or personality or moods or interests, etc. that are negative, I have decided that there's no use in punishing myself. I am the only person I'll be around all my life. I'm treating myself like a best friend for the first time ever, and it feels great. I'm not exempt from being sad, but we're only human. Now I appreciate and am grateful for negative emotions. I acknowledge emotions of sadness, anger, jealousy, and then I move on. I take them as they come, and then I see myself in the present and how most things I used to constantly worry about are not really a big deal after all. There's no point to hating on my body. It's the only body I have, and it's better to celebrate it and feel confident in my skin. I do this by wearing clothes that accentuate my curves and feel nice draped on my body. I do this by investing in quality underwear and bras. I don't let makeup cover me like a mask, but instead enhance the features I like best. I look in the mirror and no longer hate what I see. I acknowledge the values I hold dear and don't waste my time being around people that don't reflect those things. Honesty, respect, authenticity, kindness, support, and ambition are at the top. If someone lies to me, it is a violation of my beliefs. I practice what I preach. It would be unfair to not hold myself accountable for these traits. The power of saying no is something I'm learning to wield. I don't need to have FOMO or feel obligated to say yes. Being my own decision maker is empowering. I could eat out every day this week and no one can stop me. I could stay inside doing nothing and it is up to me to do so. I'm not dependent on others' approval of my life and have no reason to apologize for how I live. I am more grateful and I'm learning to forgive others, but first have forgiven myself. Listening to uplifting music has increased my mood. Rather than listen to sadder songs or songs with negative messages, I choose to listen to music that I enjoy and treat as if they were affirmations. Songs that can influence me positively and that I can sing or dance along to. I've had an eating disorder all my life, but this year, I've actually begun to tackle it. Instead of it being a source of shame, it's something that I acknowledge I have and can make the changes I see fit. I don't need to force or pressure myself, and instead celebrate every step I take, however small. Already, I've made vast improvements in 5 months since really starting this journey. As a result, I'm making healthier habits for myself. I'm a more confident employee and raise my hardworking nature up instead of being dismissive of my performance. At the same time, as I've become more self-aware, I've taken notice when people I care about and admire talk down about themselves, whether jokingly or seriously. Because I'm learning to love myself, it's never ending. I can now be the supportive friend that I used to always rely on when I was down about myself. And I can only hope that I'm spreading the positivity that was given to me. Instead of being lonely, I take pleasure in my solitude. I take refreshing walks outside, gradually learning to exercise since I never have, go shopping, watch movies, and more without feeling the need to share that with anyone else. Being in a romantic relationship would be nice, yeah? But it's not the only thing I need. It's more like a bonus, a cherry on top rather than the whole sundae. I don't need the validations of others. Huge thing to say as I'm a Leo. Since it's as if I'm a mentor to myself. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope it helps. For anyone struggling, just know it didn't come to me suddenly. I did read and watch videos on learning to love myself and still do daily. Like, a lot. Having positive role models is necessary. Watch TED Talks, read self-help books, listen to uplifting music, talk to those who love you unconditionally and who you trust. Meet with a counselor or therapist, etc. You're the only one who can take action for your life. So why not do so? Chin up and accentuate the positive. I know I have, and will continue to. Well, you know, OP, that is a great story and a great lesson in just how we never fully comprehend the ramifications of major life events and where they can take us. You could have played the victim, you could have played the woe is me, heartbroken, he left me type deal, and you would have been justified to do so. But instead, you used that as an opportunity to move on, to become stronger, to become the person you wanted to be. And now, when you do find another person to be with, you're going to be all the better for it. You now have the ability and the strength to support other people when they're going through their trials, and look at just how much you've changed in a relatively short amount of time. Take pride in that. You've done a great thing. Thank you so much for sharing this story, and I really wish you the best wherever you're at right now. Our next post comes from user MGDMW. But first, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you can get more of your daily dose of Reddit happy. Went to a school reunion? People's memories of me were different from my own. Working on self-esteem and, quite incidentally, had a surprising revelation this month. I attended my school reunion, which I was a little fearful about, but people had been encouraging me to go and asking if I would be there and so on. Now, at school, I was very shy and introverted and fairly socially inept. Yet, at the reunion, people were saying, "Oh, I remember you were in the smart class," or "You always let your achievements speak for themselves," or things like that. It was all complimentary and all pleasant and nice to hear. Nobody said, "Hey, you were that guy who couldn't talk in class," or "didn't know how to talk to girls," or whatnot. It made me reflect on the fact that what I remember about myself is not necessarily what other people remember. Maybe I've been holding on to an opinion all these years which was pointless and worthless. Perhaps we all do this. We remember all the bad or awkward things we did, and others only remember the good and funny and special things. You know, OP, I think with that last sentence there, you're actually very correct. I think naturally, as human beings, we tend to remember the bad as ones we learn from, rather than necessarily the good ones, because in those ones we didn't fail, and you learn through failure. I mean, I know I'm still racked with all sorts of stupid memories from high school. My gosh, I wish I could just get rid of some of them. But if I went back to my reunion today, I don't really think anyone would remember me, or at least not any of those things that I'm still beating myself up over. If they remembered me at all, they'd just probably see me as the kid who swam varsity 4 years and did drama. Unless it's something really, really, really bad, people generally tend to forget the stupid things that we do. And if they forget it, I think we have every right to as well. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I truly wish you the best with wherever you're at right now. Our next story is from user Anon829482. A reminder that it can get better. 1 year ago, I was in the direct wake of a breakup. It was not wanted by both of us, but it was amicable enough. He was my first love. After the breakup occurred, I stopped eating, and when I did eat, I would become violently ill. I stopped sleeping. When I did sleep, I would experience terrible nightmares. The bags under my eyes became darker every day. I became thinner and thinner until I was at my lowest weight in years. In fact, the last time I had weighed so little, I was 16 years old, 2 inches shorter, and in the hospital dying. I was unhealthy. I became obsessed with my thin body, and I would show it off as if it wasn't the result of my unhealthy habits and stress-induced illness. Fast forward 3 months, and I still had not eaten much beyond having a snack every few days. I was drinking constantly, and my cabinets were filling up with the remains of empty wine bottles. I didn't tell friends or family that my relationship had ended for a month. For an entire month, I was completely alone with myself. In March, I took a job I shouldn't have, requiring a nearly 900-mile move. In a matter of 17 days, I was offered the job, accepted it, put in my 2 weeks, packed my apartment up, moved, and started the new job. It took me 2 days to realize the company was awful to work for. In June, I took a job requiring yet another approximately 900-mile move, only this position was seasonal. I took it, left my job with 3 days' notice, went to training, then another 3 days later, I had moved and started my new job. It took only 23 days since my move-in date to realize the new job was unsafe and would kill me if I let it. So I left. This time, I had no job waiting for me. Moved back and found a job at a bar. I hate it, but at least I'm making money and keeping busy while I work towards the next option. I was sexually assaulted this year by someone I trusted. A friend of mine blocked me when he found out, as it was his best friend who attacked me. I wasn't even taken seriously by him. I've had constant attacks against me as a person, and I'm handling it well. Y'all, a year ago, I let the end of a relationship destroy me. I kept moving though. I kept taking chances. I kept growing and learning and going forward and backwards and sideways and upside down, but I kept going. Last night, I had this immense feeling of relief. I realized for the first time since my breakup that I was actually happy. Despite everything that has happened this year, I'm happy. I finally have learned to ask for the respect I deserve and leave people in the past if they refuse to give it to me. Well, OP, I want to say first and foremost, I am sorry that you've gone through all of that. I can't imagine what it's like to deal with juggling an eating disorder and heavy drinking and a breakup and everything else that you were going through. I can only think that it must have been a living nightmare for you. And then to compound that with the stress of terrible jobs and then eventually no job and just the uncertainty that comes with life and then being assaulted like that, a lot of people would have crumbled and played the victim during this whole ordeal. You, however, managed to rise above that. You're taking strength in what you've done. You've grown, you've become a better person, and you have found happiness despite everything you've gone through. You're not letting your past define you, and that is such an important lesson to learn. That the only person of you that matters is who you are today. That you have a future and that you can keep going. That there will be a better day for you, as long as you just keep pushing forward. Thank you so much for sharing this story, and I truly wish you the best with wherever you're at right now. That was r/self-love, and since this was the first video from this sub, I don't have a playlist for it. But if you want to follow the channel on social media, then go ahead and check out the links in the description for the Instagram and Twitter accounts. Love to chat with you there. Now you guys go out there, have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.